Their life was quiet and unremarkable, but their death made headlines. It's July 2024, and Jose and Stephanie Perez are living a routine life in Simi Valley. But one day they are just gone. No phone calls, no goodbyes. 10 months later, a hiker stumbles on skeletal remains in a remote canyon, and suddenly this small-town mystery explodes into something darker. Why did they end up dead miles from home? Was this a planned escape or a calculated murder? And the weirdest part? What investigators found near the bodies raises even more questions. This case isn't just unsolved, it's unsettling. In this video, let's dive into one of California's creepiest recent mysteries, unpack the timeline, and explore some chilling theories you haven't heard on the news. Imagine Simi Valley in July 2024. The weather is hot, the hills are golden, and life's humming along like a lazy summer song. Jose and Stephanie Perez are in their 60s, living in a modest home on a quiet street. They're not flashy, think sensible cars, regular jobs, and maybe a weekly barbecue with friends. They've been married forever, rooted in the community, and by all accounts, they're just normal. Then, around July 16th, something totally changed. The first clue that something's wrong comes when Stephanie's employer notices she hasn't logged in for her remote job. Now, Stephanie's the reliable type, always hits deadlines, never flakes without a heads up. By July 24th, her boss is worried enough to call the Simi Valley Police Department, SVPD, for a welfare check. Cops roll up to the Perez house expecting maybe a simple explanation. Forgot to mention a vacation, family emergency, any other sudden urgency. But when the cops reach there, the place is dead quiet. No Jose, no Stephanie. But everything else is still there: money, passports, IDs, cell phones, even their car is parked in the driveway. It was just chilling, as it seemed like they stepped out for milk and never came back. But the police didn't launch a major investigation at the time. There's a reason behind that. Right in 2024, Simi Valley was ranked as one of the safest cities in California, with a crime rate way below the national average. The last big mystery here was a string of petty burglaries in the 90s. So for a couple to vanish without a trace, the police thought of taking a little time to do anything. Anyway, while this incident itself is pretty fishy, just 2 days later, on July 26th, things get weirder. Stephanie's childhood friend, listed as her emergency contact, gets a panicked call from her employer about her absence. This friend, probably losing it by now, begs the cops for another welfare check. The SVPD goes back, combs the house top to bottom, and still, nada. No signs of a fight, no blood, no clues. It's like aliens beamed them up. The SVPD's Major Crimes Unit, led by Detective Kevin Van Fleet, takes over, but they're stumped. The couple's disappearance gets slapped with an endangered alert because leaving your whole life behind like that? That's absolutely not normal. And for months, the case has been colder than a winter night. Simi Valley rallies. Flyers go up, social media posts spread, and local papers like the Simi Valley Acorn keep the story alive. But as summer fades to fall and fall to winter, hope starts slipping. Were they alive, hiding somewhere, kidnapped, or was something way darker going on? The community's left wondering, and the Perez house sits empty, like a ghost story waiting to be told. Now fast forward to almost 1 year, May 4th, 2025. It's a gorgeous spring evening in Thousand Oaks, about 15 miles from Simi Valley. The Lang Ranch open space, with its sunrise and autumn ridge trails, is a hiker's paradise. Rolling hills, killer sunsets, the works. Around 6:52 p.m., a hiker's out there, probably soaking in the vibes, when they spot something off the path. Bones, not deer bones, not coyote bones either. It's clearly human skeletal remains, weathered and scattered like a horror movie set. The hiker, freaking out, dials 911, and the Ventura County Sheriff's Office, VCSO, swoops in. It's a full-blown operation. The VCSO's Major Crimes Unit, Thousand Oaks Police Department, Sheriff's Crime Scene Investigations Unit, Ventura County Search and Rescue, and the Conejo Open Space Conservation Agency all descend on the scene. The Ventura County Medical Examiner's Office takes the remains, and after some forensic tests, they drop a bombshell. The bones belong to none but Jose Luis Perez and Stephanie Elizabeth Perez, the missing Simi Valley couple. But here's where it gets straight up chilling. Both died from gunshot wounds to the head. Stephanie's death is ruled a homicide. Someone killed her. But Jose's, Turns out he himself had ended his life. Naturally, the official story from the VCSO is that Jose shot Stephanie, then turned the gun on himself. But the news hits Simi Valley like a sledgehammer with friends, family, neighbors. Everyone's reeling. How did this quiet couple end up like this? Why would Jose kill his wife and himself? And why on a remote trail, 10 months after they disappeared? Thousand Oaks locals have their own spin on the Lang Ranch trails. Some swear the area's got a creepy vibe, with stories of strange noises and bad energy going back decades. No one's saying it's haunted, but after the Perez discovery, hikers started sharing tales of uneasy feelings on those paths. For example, one ex-user, Conejo Hiker, posted about a weird shadow they saw near Autumn Ridge years ago. Is it a coincidence? Maybe. But it adds to the eerie vibe. But anyway, this is the high time to finally relaunch the investigation in a full-fledged. The VCSO's Major Crimes Unit takes the lead, but 10 months is a long time for evidence to sit out in the wild. The remains were skeletonized, think sun-bleached bones picked over by animals. DNA, fingerprints, or other clues? Probably long gone. The gun? No mention of it being found, which is a red flag. The trail is popular but not exactly Grand Central Station, so witnesses are scarce. The police lean hard into the theory that one person was killed and the other died by their own hand, backed by the medical examiner's findings. Gunshot wounds. But that's about all they've got. No note, no motive, no explanation of why they ended up in Thousand Oaks. The couple's belongings being left at home screams unplanned. So how would they get 15 miles away? Did they walk? Hitch a ride? Or did someone take them there? The VCSO's isolated incident line feels like a cop-out to some, leaving a trail of questions. Skeletonized remains are a nightmare for investigators. After 10 months, soft tissue's gone, and with it, most forensic evidence. Gunshot wounds to the skull can be analyzed, but without the gun or fresh tissue, it's hard to confirm details like distance or angle. The absence of the weapon at the scene raises eyebrows. Did it get taken by an animal, a passerby, or someone with a motive to hide it? Forensic experts say a missing gun in such cases isn't uncommon, but it's a wrinkle that keeps theories alive. So while the investigation is still ongoing, let's break down the possibilities, motives, and those nagging loose ends that make this case feel like it's straight out of Unsolved Mysteries. The official narrative is that Jose shot Stephanie, then himself. It's tidy, backed by the medical examiner's findings, but why? Maybe they were dealing with personal demons, money problems, a crumbling marriage, or health issues. A fight could have escalated, pushing Jose to a breaking point. The only problem is no one's come forward with tales of trouble in paradise. Friends and family paint them as stable, even boring. No whispers of arguments or financial ruin. What about mental health? Could Jose have been battling depression or suicidal thoughts? Maybe Jose was in a dark place and decided to take Stephanie with him. But there's no record of him seeking help, and a murder-suicide this calculated, leaving everything behind, ending up on a trail, doesn't scream impulse. Plus, Stephanie's homicide ruling suggests she didn't consent, which rules out a mutual pact. The theory that one killed the other and then died themselves? It's full of holes. Why no gun at the scene? Why 10 months before discovery? And why leave all their stuff behind? It's like they erased themselves, which feels too deliberate for a snap decision. Now let's flip it. What if someone else pulled the trigger? The idea of a third party killing Stephanie, or both, isn't crazy. Maybe the killer staged it like Jose killed himself. Forensic science isn't foolproof. Gunshot residue, bullet angles, and other evidence can be manipulated, especially after months of exposure. Without the gun or a fresh crime scene, it's hard to be 100% sure. Most importantly, if a third party was involved, what's the motive? Money's unlikely. Their belongings were untouched. Revenge? A secret we don't know? Maybe they stumbled into something sketchy, a bad deal, a crime they witnessed. Simi Valley is not a crime hub, but it's close enough to LA for trouble to spill over. The trail's location feels like a body dump. If Jose killed Stephanie elsewhere, why move her to Thousand Oaks? A third party might have picked that spot to hide the crime, banking on the low traffic to delay discovery. The 10-month gap supports this. Someone wanted them gone for good. But none of the leads we know about ever seem to add up. The disappearance is the weirdest part. Jose and Stephanie left everything: passports, phones, car. That's not a spur-of-the-moment move. Did they walk away on foot? Cops floated this, but a 15-mile trek to Thousand Oaks is a stretch for a couple in their 60s, and no one spotted them. Were they abducted? Someone could have lured them out. A knock at the door, a sob story, or straight-up force. No forced entry at their house suggests they left willingly, but under what pretense? Or were they hiding, trying to start fresh with new identities? This falls apart when you consider their remains. If they were laying low, why end up dead on a trail? And why no sightings for 10 months? The disappearance is so clean. No digital footprint, no credit card pings, no nothing. It's like they stepped into another dimension. This isn't the first time a couple's vanished in Ventura County. In 1988, Ray and Marie Thornton, a retired couple from Port Hueneme, disappeared after selling their home. Their car was found abandoned, but no trace of them ever turned up. Like the Perezes, they left behind a stable life, and theories ranged from foul play to a voluntary exit. That case also remained unsolved, and locals on X have drawn eerie parallels, wondering if Ventura County's got a knack for swallowing couples whole. But now let's dive into some theories that can get us closer to the truth, or at least give us some hints. We all have a rough idea that California's got a dark underbelly with drug cartels, and Simi Valley's close enough to LA to feel their shadow. What if Jose or Stephanie crossed the wrong people? Maybe they owed money, saw something they shouldn't have, or got tangled in a deal. A cartel could have taken them out, staged the whole homicide case, and left no trace. The 2021 People vs. Perez case, involving a different Jose Luis Perez, tied to the Sinaloa cartel, fuels this. Could our Jose have had a secret past? It's a long shot, but the clean disappearance and remote dump site feel like a pro job. If not that, on the other hand, some claim it can also be a government cover-up. What if Jose or Stephanie worked for a sensitive agency or contractor and knew too much? A whistleblower situation could explain the lack of evidence and the quick, isolated incident label. The feds swoop in, clean up, and pin it on Jose to kill the story. Stephanie's employer triggering the welfare check adds a twist. Maybe her remote work was for a high-stakes client. Again, it's a stretch, but it's also thought-provoking. And then comes something literally twisted. California's got a weird cult history. Manson, Jonestown vibes, you name it. Could the Perezes have joined a modern-day group only to meet a grim fate? A cult leader might have lured them away, used them for a ritual, or killed them when they tried to leave. The gunshot wounds don't scream cult sacrifice, but the isolated trail and delayed discovery fit a group staying off the grid. And let's not forget California's serial killer legacy: Zodiac, Night Stalker, Golden State Killer, and so on. While the first three theories were a little too far, this one is at least possible. Could a predator have targeted Jose and Stephanie, lured them out, and killed them? The fact that Jose took his own life might have been a lucky break for the killer. And if that's not enough, here's a wild one. Some locals whisper about paranormal forces. Because Ventura County's got Chumash legends of spirits in the hills, and a few ex-posts mention bad juju around Lang Ranch. Yes, it's a true and popular fact there. So did Jose and Stephanie stumble into something supernatural? It's out there, but it shows how desperate people are for answers. But when no theory is actually working out, something chilling and interesting gets into investigators' hands. Something that screamed that the couple knew they were going to die. When the couple vanished from their Simi Valley apartment on July 16, 2024, it first seemed like a disappearance. Strange, yes, but not unheard of. And then came the twist. Inside their locked-up apartment, police had found 2 handwritten wills. Not formal documents filed away in a lawyer's office, and these were raw, personal, and handwritten. The kind of thing you do when you don't have time, or maybe when you don't want anyone to know what you're planning. The 2 wills were found alongside a pair of cell phones, and though the contents of the documents haven't been publicly revealed, their existence alone has sent shockwaves through the narrative. Because handwritten wills don't just show up out of nowhere. And with the discovery of those wills, it suddenly seems more than just an impulsive act. It feels like premeditation, something calculated, maybe even rehearsed. But if that's true, what was Stephanie's role in all this? Was she involved in the planning too? Or was she completely unaware of what was about to happen? That question lies at the heart of the case, and if both Jose and Stephanie had written wills, it could suggest that they were on the same page, that they had decided, together, to end their lives. But that idea runs headfirst into the coroner's ruling: homicide. Which means Stephanie did not consent. She didn't choose this. Someone decided for her. And still, why the wills? Were they standard estate plans? A just-in-case precaution? Or did they say more, leave behind clues or explanations? Apologies, regrets, instructions. No one outside the investigation knows. The sheriff's office hasn't shared any excerpts, not even a hint. And so we're left wondering, did Jose plan the homicide and write a will to tie up loose ends? Or were these wills something older, something unrelated, something that just happened to be there? For one thing, the couple left behind almost everything: their money, their passports, their IDs, even their vehicle. Nothing in the apartment suggested a struggle. There were no signs of forced entry, nothing was stolen. It was as if they'd simply stepped out for a walk and never came back. But of course, they didn't just vanish, and if Jose really was responsible for their death, as the sheriff's office believes, it means he led her out there under some horrible pretense, and then ended it all. That scenario is horrifying on its own, but the wills suggest a motive might be buried somewhere deeper. Maybe in money troubles, maybe in mental illness, maybe in despair. But don't forget, 2 phones were found in the apartment. Investigators also have Stephanie's work laptop. Those devices could be key. They might hold the last messages they sent, voicemails, emails, or journal entries. Digital footprints that could pull back the curtain on what really happened in the days leading up to July 16th. And as of May 10th, 2025, the case is still open, though the VCSO's sticking to their story that Jose killed his wife and then ended his own life as well. Maybe the investigation is stalled, or maybe it's continuing quietly, behind closed doors, with investigators waiting for one last piece of evidence to bring everything into focus. And ever since this unsolved case happened, Simi Valley and Thousand Oaks have been shaken. Family and friends are wrecked. No public statements have surfaced, but imagine the pain. 10 months of praying they'd walk through the door, only to learn they were dead the whole time. The VCSO's still asking for tips, but without fresh leads, this could go cold again. The tale of Jose and Stephanie Perez is a gut punch of mystery, tragedy, and loose ends. We've dug into every angle: mental health, foul play, cartels, even ghosts. But the truth's still out there. The missing gun, the bizarre location, the clean disappearance, it all keeps this case from feeling done. Simi Valley's mourning, Thousand Oaks is spooked, and the Perez family's stuck waiting for answers that might never come. Until then, this story's a chilling reminder. Sometimes the quietest lives hide the darkest secrets. So what do you think? Is the police's theory right? Or is there a darker truth hidden in the shadows? What drove this quiet couple to such a tragic end, and why were they found so far from home? Why did they leave behind that strange will suddenly? We know we may never know the full story, but one thing's clear: this case is far from closed in the hearts of those seeking justice. What do you think happened to Jose and Stephanie? Do you buy the official story, or do you suspect foul play? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and let's keep this conversation alive. If you found this video gripping, hit that like button, subscribe for more true crime deep dives, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next story. Got a tip or a theory? Share it with the Ventura County Sheriff's Office at 805-384-4724. Until next time, stay curious and keep searching for the truth.